So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of get your story because you had an amazing story about an encounter that you had while you were here working one night. And I was hoping that you could just share the impact that had on you and maybe the other person that you encountered that night.
Sure. Happened probably a little over a year and a half ago, and I was organist here at the time. My name is Bev McCollum, by the way, and I was sitting in the choir room working after a bell choir rehearsal, and I left to walk down the hallway, and I met up with a lady who was in a support group on that same night. And she was looking at the prayer shawls, and she asked me if I was a staff member, and I told her I was. And she said, well, I just think these are beautiful. And she was stroking them and feeling how soft the yarn was. And she told me she had come to be in the support group. So I told her that we use the prayer shawls to give to the members of the congregation who need comfort. And she commented again on how beautiful they were and how they felt. And she started walking back down the hall to her support group. And I thought, well, if anybody needs comfort, that lady does, because she looks so dejected and sad. And so I called her back and I said, would you like to have one of these? I said, I think that the church would be happy for you to have one. And she said, oh, could I? And so at that time I was knitting some of the prayer shawls, and Betty Fidelke was giving me the yarn, beautiful soft yarn. And so I grabbed one that I had made, and I gave it to her and told her I had made it. And she wrapped it around her shoulders, and she thanked me from her heart. And I watched her as she walked back to the support group, and she was just standing so much taller and walking with so much joy. And later on, I looked through the glass wall into the conference room where they were meeting, and she still had that prayer shawl on, and she was stroking it like, oh, this feels so good, and she had a beautiful smile on her face. And I'll just never forget that experience, because she was so grateful. And really, it was such a insignificant thing for me to do, but to her, it was very significant. She later sent me a note of thanks through the church office and thanked me again. And I saw her probably a couple times on other evenings when she came to her support group, and she was just so grateful. She wore that prayer shawl.
Yeah.
So that's my story about love and prayer shawls.
What impact did that have on you? How did that help you feel?
Oh, I was just so glad that I offered it to her, even though she was not a member of the congregation. And I was so glad that it had an impact. I could see that it had an impact on her life, and I felt so good about that. She really needed that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for doing that.
Well, I'm happy to offer that story.
That's a great story.